Hello, welcome back to the Usually Best Friends podcast. This is episode 5. What are we talking about today?
Well, Abraham, today we're going to be talking about friendship again. Woohoo! Woo! And honestly, hey, I can't hear Vicky.
Hey, can you hear me?
There we go.
There I am.
Oh, it was a Vicky problem, huh?
Is it? I can't hear anyone.
I have to be like this because I was over here.
As long as the listeners can hear, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Was that a good intro?
Yeah. Sounds nice.
I'm like that.
No, it was very...
Abraham.
Yeah. It was very us. Mm-hmm. So the last couple of episodes, we've been talking about friendship, duh.
Yeah.
But we haven't gotten down to the nitty gritty of friendship, which
The
is
saucy stuff.
the saucy stuff,
Yeah.
the danger zone of friendship.
Ooh.
And
I'm scared.
how toxic friendships can really get.
Tengo miedo.
Scared because we're going to color out of our toxicity.
Dang.
I'm not even going to comment on that.
She's like,
Damn. She's like,
feel
you're
like
king toxic.
you just opened the door for her to go straight away with you.
Well, let's tell the audience what exactly we're going to be talking about today.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the dark side of friendship. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see me holding up my phone. Sorry about that. But the dark side of friendship, the potential downsides of friendship, when we're in a relationship where we start experiencing jealousy, where we experience conflict and how to approach those things, how to navigate difficult or toxic relationships, friendships, and coping with the loss of a friend or the end of a friendship. Because I think that we're all at an age where we've been through that.
Yeah.
So, ouch.
Yeah. That's crazy. I get triggered sometimes still having memories about very toxic people.
I do too.
Abraham's like, I don't.
No. I think my circle's so small that I've like weeded out the toxic people.
Yeah, I will say Abraham's the one who weeds people out.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Or
I think
I've
it
been
would
more
be
careful.
Yeah.
Creating that space, you know.
I think what's important to maybe consider before we actually jump into the topic of like the dark side of friendship. I think one of the things that this applies to everyone really is that, you know, nobody really stays in a friendship where the person who's being toxic is like a bad person. I feel like when we can identify that they're bad people, we walk away from them. So I think maybe clarification for me and the audience, I'm wondering if we're going to be focusing on friendships, the dark side of friendships, about those specifically bad, toxic people that are very intentional in what they do, or are we talking about like
when we think of, I think maybe what you're about to say, and not me cutting you off, or are we talking about the friendships that we think can get pretty toxic but survive?
Yes. So like, what's the word? Like ambivalent friendships where we know that they have we know that they're good, but we also know that there's those toxic traits. And it's hard to let go of those friendships sometimes because we're holding on to what's good about that friendship too. And so how do we manage that toxicity knowing that this is a potential person that we want to keep around because they are also very helpful?
I think we should talk about the latter.
Okay.
Because at the end, when we go in and talk about the loss of a friend and the end of a friendship, we can touch a little bit on those friends that we've made that we've cut off. But I don't think we should focus on the people that aren't in our lives anymore. I don't even think the viewers would benefit from that. Maybe we'll talk about the mourning of a friend towards the end. But right now, we can help whoever's listening and watching identify if they have those ambivalent friendships and how to continue nurturing them if that's the case, or how to determine whether it's completely something that you need to dispose of.
Yeah. Cool. I'm ready.
Also, before we get started, we've had a couple of listeners who've asked us where they can ask questions. And for whatever reason on our YouTube channel, the comment section is off. So I don't know how to turn that on yet. When we do figure it out, you'll be able to comment there. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email us. Our email is usually bestoffriends@gmail.com. if that's your vibe, of course. If not, just follow us on Instagram and DM us, or just comment on one of the posts, usually Best of Friends, on all social media platforms.
And TikTok too.
Yes, and TikTok. But the TikTok ones, it's mostly trolls.
Okay, they deserve their space too.
That is very empathetic of
Trolls'
you.
lives matter.
He just says that because he's a troll. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump into this.
Let's.
So the potential downsides of friendship. I want to talk about jealousy.
Okay.
I want to talk about. Well, ask you guys. When do you remember ever feeling jealousy? And here, let me clarify. Let's say you have a really good friend, and this is the kind of jealousy I want to touch base on. You have a really great friend, and they start hanging out with somebody else, and you start feeling jealousy, like you're being, what's the word? Not obsessive.
Like you're just reacting to kind of that distance.
Protective.
But there's another word. I don't know. The point is, I don't know if that's what the question that we should talk about, if it's that type of jealousy or jealousy for a friend, because I don't know that you can really consider yourself a good friend if you're feeling jealous of your friend.
Yeah. Well, I think the question you're actually posing also falls into the last point that we're making about mourning a loss, because you are losing some distance and you're losing a lot because you're not hanging out with them as much. And so you still mourn the loss of maybe not being as close because they're getting closer to another friend.
So you're jealous because of that closeness that they're having with someone else?
I see that, but when I think of jealousy between friends, I think of like, for example, like, let's say like I'd be married, like, let's put Mario for example.
Right.
Like he got married. Like I feel like someone could be jealous of that. Like, oh, why is he married? Why can't I get married? You know,
like a friend of his
Yeah.
could be like, why is it happening for him and not
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. So they're like jealous of their successes. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of that's fair, and I'm sure it happens. I think you should take it away, Vicky, because I have my own comments to make, but we're gonna go down a different, possibly
Well, that's
negative
just how. That's
rabbit hole.
That's what I think of when you say jealousy.
That's a good.
Like, or maybe not even jealousy, just like
Yeah.
envy.
That's even worse though, because
Yeah.
we've had a conversation in past episodes that feeling jealousy for a friend can be normal. It's what you do with that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Envy is, I think, much more of a reactive feeling. When you envy someone, I feel like your body wants to do something about it. And so, yeah, jealousy. What would you say? Have you ever had an experience where you know that you have a friend who is not happy? For example, you got married. You're the first one out of everyone in our friend group to get married. And you don't have to specify on one of us, because what if she shows up and she's like, yeah, Joel, so you were jealous.
No, I think in talking about this topic, my experiences wouldn't be about you guys. It would be probably like external friends outside of this group.
Imagine she's like, yeah, you.
No, I don't. No.
No, please. What was your experience? And do you still talk to these people that possibly showed that they weren't super happy for you?
Yes, I think one of the things that I've learned is to catch, and I think we talked about this in a different time outside of the podcast, where I've been able to identify when someone's genuinely not happy about something that I share with them, if that's me getting married. Yeah. And I've noticed, because it's very clear in their facial expressions. And one of the things that I actually probably learned from my sister, and I think you were there when she was talking about it, is that the first 3 seconds of someone reacting to something that you say is their genuine response to what they think about it. And those first 3 seconds always do. I've found that those first 3 seconds of how someone reacts, I'm just like, you're literally showing me how you really feel. But then they change it and they're like, oh, I'm so happy for you, when I know they're not. I've had those experiences a lot, and I do continue to have them with some specific friends that I have. And yes, to answer your question, I have kept them around because I am looking at this friendship because I'm not as close to them and I want to be close to them, I'm looking at it from a perspective of like, this is just an obstacle that's showing up now, but I'm very hopeful that in the future, as we continue to grow together, I'm hoping it's not going to be there anymore. But I'm also very like person who's very gullible and
You see the best in people.
yeah, I try to see the best intention, even if it probably isn't the best intention from them.
She gives them the benefit of the doubt. And that's a lesson that I learned this year. I'm going to stop handing that benefit of the doubt cards out to people because it never turns out nice.
Yeah.
What do you think from a male perspective, Abraham? Because we've said before that you believe, and we have to agree that women are more competitive with one another, but I still think it's possible for a man to envy another man when they're friends. Have you had an experience where you've felt, well, jealousy? Let's remember we said we were trying to talk about jealousy, not envy. Where you felt jealous or you felt someone's jealousy, and how have you acted on it?
No, I don't think not as like an adult, but as a kid, yeah. Like I'd be jealous of certain friendships. Like I'd be jealous, like, oh, why can't I be more like him? Like, why can't I be outgoing like him and, do the things that he does?
Yeah. And do you think that as an introvert that you are, do you think that it's a common thing for people who are more quiet to want to be more outgoing? Because I feel like that's very, like, is it a desire? That's just my question. I've always wondered that. Like, do quiet people want to be loud?
Well, because I'm not that kind of quiet.
No, you're not.
Like, I'm not an introvert. Like, I mean,
you're just
I
reserved.
am, but
you're reserved.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I guess in certain situations, like someone who like holds back to themselves would want to be like maybe more outgoing, like maybe to like get a girlfriend or just to have a little bit more fun,
Right.
Because like being quiet, like and just sitting in a corner by yourself, sometimes it does like get to you and it makes you think, like maybe I'm not good enough or something.
Right. Or that there's definitely things out there that you won't have just because you're not.
Things you won't experience because you're
quiet.
You.
Oh, wow. You know what? That's a very interesting perspective. And I don't think you've ever shared that with us, but I'm glad I asked.
That's because you never felt that because you're the opposite.
But you guys would be surprised at how much more I think I'm capable of being bold. And the boldness that you guys see sometimes, to me, it's not enough. So I actually can relate to what you're saying. I feel like there are so many things that I could go out and chase after, but I'm too shy or afraid of failure that I just don't do it. So I can relate to you in that sense. It's just on a different threshold. It's another different threshold. But I guess I could probably share with you guys that I get very uncomfortable, and I mean very uncomfortable when I feel someone's jealousy and when I feel, like we were just talking about this in the car.
Yeah.
When I feel someone be jealous or be competitive with me, I completely shut down.
It's hard.
I give up. When I've had friends in the past be competitive in school, in academics, in beauty, just things that women are competitive in, I personally cannot handle the stress of one-upping someone. Yeah. So I give up. And I'm going to tell you guys a story if I can share.
I like stories.
And I'm going to mention her name because she's cool and I'm sure she doesn't know this. No, she's cool. Do you remember Diamond?
Yes.
In third grade? Okay. So I used...
Diamond?
You don't know her. We were little.
That's the one friend you didn't get to meet.
Well, you guys had an African-American friend.
That was Princess.
That was Princess. Princess Soda Pop.
I love Princess.
Dude, Princess was freaking awesome. Well, my African-American friend, her name is also, Diamond is also an African-American friend of mine. And we were such good friends, but it was always competitive. And that's like my first memory of competition in academics, when I started realizing the kind of person that I was going to be. And it's like, oh my God. Okay. So let me tell you, we were in third grade. And we had obviously just gotten better at reading as students. We were reading chapter books or whatever. And as an incentive for us to read, we had a log. And we would get like little stars for every book that we'd read. But as proof of reading, we had to take a computer exam to question us on the book. And I remember I was doing so well because I fell in love with reading. But then I remember like I was like at top of my class in reading just because I liked it.
Yeah.
And then I remember Diamond would start out reading me. She started reading more books than me. And then she started taking the quizzes without actually reading the book, and she was getting caught. But I remember when I felt, she was getting caught because she was not passing the quizzes.
Yeah.
And I remember when I saw that she was like 1 star ahead of me, when no one had been a star ahead of me on the reading log for the entire class, I gave up. I don't think I ever read a book again for like that year, because I was like, bro, she's chasing me. Like she's coming. She's almost gonna catch up to me. Oh, she caught up to me. No, bro, like I cannot read her. I cannot read her. And that has been a pattern in my life that whenever I think she was a little jealous of like how well I was doing. But when I feel that, I completely shut down. I can't even fight you. I can't. And I'm like that still.
That's so interesting.
So that's like a lighthearted experience of jealousy when we're younger. There's definitely more though.
I think as kids, like that type would push me to be better, you know?
I wish that would do that to me.
Yeah.
Did
When we're in school, like there was always that kid that would run faster or like longer.
Do more pull-ups.
And I always wanted to, I'm going to beat this guy. So that it would push me to be better.
Dang.
In a sense.
And you know, like you see that often in school and in sports, but I think that's one of the reasons why I never excelled in anything like that or in any competition, because I'm just not competitive because I'm afraid of being competitive, putting it out there that I'm competitive and then losing. I'd rather just give up.
No,
that's so funny.
We got on a different topic.
That's not my kind of mindset.
Bro, okay, we're getting off topic.
No, that was good. That was good. I'm just now wondering, because to continue on like the dark side of friendships, I'm also thinking of, because we're talking about how sometimes these friends can show very apparent like comfort in our failures. So maybe to you, it's like, I'm just shutting down because I just can't be competitive. But maybe to them, it looked like a failure. Like, oh, I finally was able to surpass you. But I'm wondering, how have you both handled when a friend, which I also think that this has to do with like the jealousy and the envy that we talked about. How have you both handled when you find out that a friend has gossiped about you? Because I feel like that has to do a lot with ambivalent friendships, where it's like, they show this good part because they do have a good part of themselves that help us and support us. But then the dark side of that friendship is when they're gossiping about you and then creates this whole thing. And it's, how do you react to that? And how would you manage that?
Why are you laughing?
Because you like, her eyes are so like.
Oh, I know. I noticed that in the last video. I was like.
Just because she gets into it.
She's like, sorry. She needs to open her eyes to make room for the thoughts in her brain.
Sorry, Vicky.
Well,
I'm gonna just say off the rip, like that's all girl stuff. Because guys don't gossip.
No, because Abraham said this. Abraham said this. Guys don't gossip. They'll just say it to your face and then go back to playing video games.
Yeah.
It's like they don't take it to heart, right?
The thing is that I think that it's true. Men are like that. And well, guys, boys, I mean, of all ages, they're like that. And I remember being like that when I was younger. But then, I mean, ask Vicky. We would be in our friend groups and I would be very upfront. And I remember one of our friends that we had in common that you stayed friends with and I didn't from middle school, and I won't say names.
Just say names, man.
No, there's some people that I will not mention.
Juicy.
I don't want to make it that juicy.
No, let's make it juicy, but not with everybody.
Yeah.
So I remember there was like certain friend groups that would share things. The girls would share things with Vicky and they wouldn't share it with me because they would always say, don't tell Julissa she's too judgmental, or don't tell Julissa she won't approve, because I was like a boy in that aspect. If I didn't like something, I would say it. And I never meant it like with an ill intention. I just didn't think people were that sensitive.
Damn.
And then they were. So as a woman, I learned to think as a woman. Like literally women altered my way of being a friend because of how offended they get. And now I'm right there with them. Not that I get offended, but I cater to them. Because I remember that dude, the girls would be like, don't tell Julissa, even you, like there's some things that you wouldn't tell me because I was so.
You were very like upfront with what your thoughts were.
Yeah. My disapproval was always very evident. So. But anyway, we digress a little bit. I digressed. If we're talking about a friend that's gossiped about me and me finding out, I guess we just keep going back to our childhood friendships because I was very forgiving with a lot of the friends that I heard would say things about me or kind of convince myself that it wasn't true. But now that I'm older, I just can't think of anyone that's gossiped about me that I've found out about. I think they've been pretty good at never letting me know.
Yeah.
Which is horrible. Like I literally can't think of one person.
Or maybe you could think about it like, well, I don't have those friends anymore.
Well, you never know.
Because they used to be there.
What if I say that and then someone's like, if she would have known what I said about her last week.
Oh my gosh, no.
That's funny.
I think about when people do that. And my thought always goes to not why did they say that, but my thought goes to why did they feel the need to have to do that? Like what benefit were they getting from that? They need to feel supported by somebody by doing that against us? Or did they need to feel like they were superior? That's why they needed to do that. And so I'm just wondering like what were they needing in that moment to do that? Not so much what they said or who they chose. It's like, what was the need? Like, what was lacking that they needed to do that?
Yeah.
Well, I will say that I can think of one scenario where I wouldn't necessarily say that the people were gossiping about me. I just think that they had an opinion on how I was living my life that they shared with each other, and we were all friends, and they would never share it with me. So it's like I would hear, oh, this person thinks this, and this too. And it's like, they were my friend, the person who thought X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, they've never said that to me. So that was hurtful. And that was recent. Well, more recent than like years ago. And it was hurtful. It was hurtful. And I honestly think that it ended up just closing a chapter of my life with these friends where I definitely just like took a step back a little bit. Didn't completely erase them from my life, but it exposed something that I already knew was kind of there. That's the thing. Like I think when someone gossips about you and you hear it, it should never, I mean, unless you're completely out of it as a human being and you're not aware of your surroundings and the people that are surrounding you, you always know. And when you hear the gossip, it's just confirmation on like the feeling that you'd been getting about that person. So
like, you know, it's there, but you know what it talks about it, but you know, it's there.
Yeah. Like, you know that there's something between you and this person. And then you hear the gossip and you're like, you're hurt, but you're not that surprised.
Yeah.
So I think I've had more of those experiences than to hear that someone who's really close to me, like one of you guys said something that completely blindsided me.
Yeah.
That's like, we're ready for it.
That's crazy.
Pull the trigger on that friendship. No, I'm just kidding. Don't listen to me.
Those are definitely dark side. That's the dark side of friendship, because you know, I feel like for a lot of people, their family stops becoming family and their friends become family because they're more loyal is what they would call it. But then they don't consider that there's a dark side of friendship and those things do come up. And sometimes that brings up a lot for us because we are so stuck on like, you know, they're loyal and we expect them not to do what family's doing and they do it. And it's like, it hurts more because at least for me, it hurts more because you were hoping that it would be different.
Right. Because when you go into a friendship, you are able to select it. With family, I feel like we're more forgiving because of that cliche saying like, well, it's your family. Right. Well, it's your family. First of all, no, it's not. I mean, yes, it is, but what does that mean sometimes?
Biologically, scientifically, it might be on paper.
Yeah, literally. Like just because
But other than that, it's like, no.
no, and it's true. That's a really good thing that you're bringing up. I think that it does hurt when it comes from a friend because you chose them to be in your life. But when there are these negative things that happen in friendships, I think that we need to be quick to forgive the way that we are quick to forgive a family member who is going to keep doing the same thing to you anyway, because that's how, like, some people are just mean in your family. So as long as it's not something like super backstabbing,
Right.
I think that we need to be quick to forgive our friends. I do believe that, and give it second or third chances. As I mean, use your discretion, but I think as humans, especially at our age, we're gonna know when someone's really out to get us and when they're not.
I think one of the things that you're talking about too, that I wanted to add that might take us into another probably part of the conversation, or maybe it won't, but or maybe this is just me type of thinking. You guys can let me know.
A ver.
But what it makes me think about is when these things happen. I was trying to think about the last time that maybe I had an experience like that, but I think my brain is like locked up and I can't think right now.
Right.
But one of the things that I start noticing is that it's very easy, at least for me, to be able to identify maybe like some patterns that ex person might be showing, like toxic patterns or like some insecurity. But as I'm noticing theirs, it also triggers mine to come out. And I start noticing maybe unhealthy patterns in the way that maybe I'm reacting to their toxicity. And it starts bringing up a lot. So, but many times, if this happens to anyone else, and please let me know, but if this happens to anyone else, I feel like many times we push what shows up for us away and we focus on their negativity. And we're like, no, they're the problem. When there's things that are being brought up from us, like about us too, but we're choosing to ignore them.
I agree.
And so it stunts our growth as a person because we're not acknowledging that we also have to make changes.
I agree, but can you give us an example?
Well, that's what I was trying to think. I was trying to think of an example, but I maybe on the next episode if I think of an example. But I can make an example up maybe.
Yeah,
If that helps for everyone, because I can't think of a most recent example. But for example, I'll use you, Julissa, as an example. Let's say like you and I are like in this friendship and there's some toxicity in the friendship. Toxicity can look like gossiping, or it can look like the jealousy or the envy. And so let's say that you do something to me and it hurts me.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that this is a pattern with you that's constantly happening. I'm like, this isn't the first time. This has happened in several different occasions, but it's the same pattern. And to me, I can say, well, there's this insecurity. I can pinpoint like why you are that way. Maybe it was the way that you were brought up in life. Maybe it was the way that you think and your perspective about life. And I can pinpoint everything. But also by pinpointing your like faults, I would say, my faults start coming up too, because I start noticing that, you know, this also impacts me because I'm noticing where I'm wrong too, in the way that I was brought up or in the way that I'm like reacting to this situation, and it's not as positive either. So not only did I notice yours, but I noticed mine, but then yet I'm choosing to ignore mine. I'm like, well, I'm not the problem here. She's the one that started it. So she's the toxic one, when really we both are, because I'm just as influencing in the conflict than she is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that with any friendship, there has to be one person, not every time, right? Whenever there's a conflict, there has to be one person to stop it.
Yeah.
There always has to be. It doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be one more mature one. I just think that as humans, we go through ups and downs. When we choose friends, we need to choose them knowing that they are going to not always be the happiest people. And if you have a friend who is going through something really heavy and they cannot bear the weight of a friendship, they cannot give you that happiness, that lightheartedness all the time, and they're kind of emotionally dumping on you, like, as long as it's not a permanent thing, maybe it's just a small season, like, be patient with it. And now, if you're younger and you're listening or you're watching and you just find yourself in just an extremely toxic friendship, where you're feeling jealousy towards somebody, I say, whenever you feel like someone is jealous of you, the first step in that is making sure that, or ask yourself, I guess I'm like getting confused here. Let me backtrack. If you're younger and you're watching and you feel like you have a friend in your life who is super jealous of you and that's all you ever talk about, like, no, it's because they're jealous. It's because this, or even if you have parents that are always telling you this person's jealous of you, because we all grew up with that. I mean, the girls did. I think that you should check yourself and make sure you're not a mean girl. Because if you are attracting people that have jealousy issues, it's 9 times out of 10 gonna be because you are that kind of person as well.
Yeah. And it goes to that point of that I was trying to, you said that perfectly, actually. It goes to that point where I was trying to say, like, whatever people are doing around you brings up what actually is happening within you too, but we're choosing to ignore it.
Right.
And we're just putting the blame on the person. And that's the toxic part about ourselves too, and choosing to ignore what we can change.
Yeah, and it's just true in all of its forms. It could be if you're a possessive friend, if you're a jealous friend, if you're a friend who's always freaking depressed. And the reason I say freaking depressed with such passion is because, I mean, you've heard it a million times and you'll hear it again in this podcast. You are who you surround yourself with. And until you remove yourself from that situation and you surround yourself with people that are better than you, you need to surround yourself with people that are better than you. You're not going to grow. It's kind of old news to surround yourself with people that are at a lower level than you, not to undermine anyone or to say that there's like levels to life. But I mean, kind of.
It's like you're either closing the door on yourself for growth or you're...
Right. Yeah. And I think a lot of people accept these crappy friendships where they're constantly dealing with jealousy, toxicity. What? Yeah, literally. Toxicity, because it makes them feel better about themselves. It makes them feel like, I am such a good friend. I don't understand why I attract such crappy people. It's because I'm a healer and I heal people. And so I attract all of these sick people who you need help. And I say this with a little bit of aggression because I was like this. I felt like everything was a project for me to fix. And it's, or I kept a lot of toxic friends because I just kept forgiving and forgiving and forgiving. And it's just an ugly thing. No, let it go. Let it go. Some things are okay to let go of, especially if you're younger. Some things are okay to let go of. I promise you that if you're a freshman or even if you're a senior in college, I promise that your best friend is not as important as you think, especially if she's being catty.
Passive aggressive.
Or what do you say, Abraham? What about, so maybe guys aren't as competitive, jealous, but what would you say to someone who has a toxic male relationship, or they have a friend who's always bringing them down? What do you think, like, about this whole concept of you are who you surround yourself with? How does that look like in a male to male friendship?
Well, I think what you're saying is spot on. Like, if you're surrounding by yourself by these people, you're gonna turn into one of them. And I think I've noticed it because I have a friend. We had a friend who is kind of toxic, but like jokingly, right? Like,
I'm trying to think of who.
No, I know exactly who he's talking about.
You know who
it's fake.
It's like fake toxicity, but it turns real quick.
It's real toxicity.
So then, like,
tell me later.
Just keep talking. Yeah. We're not about to make this awkward. Just keep going.
Yeah. So like it's fun at first, you know, like it's like just bantering, you know, like going back and forth, but it gets to a point where it's like all right, this is not fun anymore. Like
yeah,
just
it hurts.
stop. And then, but they just keep going and going. It's like, and I think at that point, like that's where you need to like assess the situation and like to see if this friendship is really worth it, and then go on from there. And obviously communicate that to them. You're like, you know what, like you're my friend, but like I think you're stepping over a line that
boundaries.
Yeah. So set boundaries, and then obviously you communicate with them, and then if you do all those things, I think, and they still at it, I think you should take a break. You know.
I think that if you do all of those things in a male friendship, where you draw attention to the fact that their banter seems a little too serious, and they brush it off like, bro, you're too sensitive.
Yeah.
They did what they wanted to do, which is hurt you.
They were intentional about it.
They were very intentional. And I believe that when it comes to even female friendships, and you have someone like that, because, okay, we've said this before as well. One of the main requirements to fit into this friend group is to take a little bit of bullying. I think Vicky's not much of a bullier, but she's got to take it.
Yeah.
A bullier. She's not much of a bullier.
She's a bully sometimes.
You think so?
How?
With you, maybe, because she's known you her entire life.
I literally call you Cloud. That's it.
And Bowser.
And Bowser.
No.
I mean, if that's bullying to you, that's fine.
No, she's like a... Oh
She
my
throws
gosh.
like jabs. Like,
She does.
She's like, it's like sneak disses.
She's
you
getting
know?
sensitive right now. She's like, that's fine.
She's like,
If you
it's
think
like
that-
sneak disses.
Oh my God, this is Vicky getting defensive right now.
For real.
Wait, let me
just
give, let me give you an example. When we, you know what? No, I don't even want to
Stop
say
smacking the
this.
table.
No,
Sorry.
that's fine.
No, it's not about you. It's because I'm going to call him out for doing it. When you were making fun of him for snoring.
And you called me mean. I was like, it's true.
Bro, he can't. He's sleeping. He can't do anything about it.
But then he
No,
started
but that's
making
not
fun of me for
bullying.
making noises at night.
True.
I was just like, I don't remember making noises.
See, like that's like banter, you know. But
Yeah.
but it stopped.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like we cut it off.
And like I said, in this friendship, it's very necessary. But even for us who are bullies with one another, we know who to not bully. We don't bully people outside of the friend group
Right. Yeah.
because that's inappropriate. We don't know that. We don't
Well,
understand their
not to their
boundaries.
face.
It goes back to gossiping.
For real.
No, it's not gossip unless it's a lie.
Well, you can't say we don't make fun of people like
We
between
do.
us.
I did not
So we-
deny it.
So that's bullying.
Okay, fine. But what I'm saying is that we don't bully to them.
Yeah.
And I completely lost my train of thought. It's fine. The point is that, no, I literally don't remember the point. But yeah, in this friendship, we require bantering, but there is a level where, as bullies, we know when someone is not necessarily,
Not feeling it
Or
anymore.
taking it too far.
Yeah.
it's easy to know someone else's intentions because
Right.
we know those lines and we've very much crossed them, but we can pull back and we know when someone is purposely.
I think the way things are communicated sometimes too, you can tell by their comments, like if it's lighthearted or passive aggressive or it's like sarcastic in a rude way. You can just tell by the way that their voice, the tone in their voices, or the words that they choose to use.
Which is one of the reasons why in our friend group it's important to have both men and women, because we can go hard on the guys. and I like, this is one thing that is a huge compliment to me. Whenever Mario, he's like, you know, I like this friendship because I know I can bully you and you won't get your feelings hurt. And I'm like, I won't get them hurt. And if I do, I'm just glad that I can do it back. And I can really like lash out on you. And and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does get awkward. Sometimes the bullying, like on my end, it does go a little too far, but I apologize immediately. It's fine.
That's so funny. No, or I mean, that's your perspective, but the way that I see it is that Mario goes too hard sometimes and then you get like upset and then he'll try to play with you like with your ear or something because he's like, I was kidding.
No. It's look, the thing with me is that when it comes to bullying me, it's not what you say, it's what you do. So to me, you can tell me that I'm ugly, that my teeth are crooked, that my breath smells, and I can take all of it. It's when you start touching me or when you start scaring me, like, or when you pull pranks on me. It's not that like I can't play around. I just get triggered easily. Like, for example, I just walked into the door and Mario was in the corner trying to scare me. And I panic when I get scared. Like my heart literally drops. Thankfully, it didn't scare me. He wasn't loud enough. And then, so I'll give you guys. What happened?
What?
Did you guys hear that knock?
Yeah.
I'm scared.
What?
You didn't hear that knock?
Stop. I'm
I
scared.
heard that knock. Did you do that? You did that.
You what?
Bro, I did not
Great,
know.
Chris,
You
did
heard
you-
that?
What?
I didn't
I
hear
heard that.
I
nothing.
promise I didn't
No,
do
I
that.
heard that.
And I'm scared.
Someone at
Why
the
are you
door?
scared, bruh?
Is there someone at the door?
Can you go check?
No. Okay. This is horrible.
I heard that.
You
It
guys
was
heard
you.
what?
It was you.
It was me. What?
It was.
It was me.
You scared? Stop. Was that you?
Dude, that's so funny.
Bro, I got so,
You're so mean.
I told Mario I was gonna get you guys.
bro, I got so scared. I was like, it's too dark outside to go look at the door. Dude, me too.
That's so funny. I got you guys.
Bro, I
Now
got
you
so
have Mickey toys.
and then the worst part is that no wait, the worst part is that we're like, did you hear that? He says no. Crystal's like, no. And you're the only one who heard it. I was so confused. Bro, I completely oh, let's jump back in because I'm getting distracted. So an example with like the Mario situation when he messes with me where I get mad. It's not that he's crossing boundaries. It's just that I can handle words. I can't handle actions. Let's say that
That's funny.
we're I don't know, he's like trying to pull a prank on me and he successfully does it, like scaring me really triggers me. I don't know what, like it automatically makes me mad when I know it's a joke, except for right now you scared me, but I got paranoid. I didn't get mad. And let's say Mario just freshly scared me and I actually screamed and got super scared. And then he starts he laughs at me. And then after he laughs at me and I'm mad, he starts playing with my ear. He's like, and I'm just like, stop. That's when Mario and I that's when we fight. But it's never because he told me like, cállate, mensa.
Yeah.
It's never the words. It's always the actions with him. He's annoying, but it's fine. Don't do that again, bro.
I'm gonna do it every episode.
That was so scary.
Okay, let's continue. Did we talk about this?
Moral of the story, just to really catch everyone up where we left at, don't lie to yourself. Just don't lie to yourself. If you know that you have some traits that are toxic, don't push those away by shining light on someone else's toxicity. Like change those for yourself too, because it's just gonna help you grow as a person at the end.
And you cannot have good friends until you are a good friend. And a good friend doesn't mean that you're better than.
Doesn't mean you're perfect.
Yes, it doesn't mean you're perfect, but I want to remind you, youngins watching, don't surround yourself with people who are crappy just to make yourself feel better.
Yep.
That is kind of where we want to.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I want to focus on, and also, don't lie to yourself about. Okay, there's a season in my life where I made friends with people that I looked up to so much,
Oh.
and I was like, no. We can
That's bombastic side eye.
literally shut up, Abraham. We can only get like juicy with each other. We can't do this to people that are not here to consent. So I made friends with very toxic people, but I didn't realize that they were toxic until way after the fact. And looking back, I did what I always used to do when I was younger, which is kind of put my genuine friends, you guys, to the side to give my attention to this group of people for years whom did not have my best interest, who talked behind my back, who criticized me, who basically made fun of me, nitpicked everything about me. And since I thought they were better than me, so this is a mistake that you can also make by choosing people that are better than you to kind of mimic them and to grow with them. I thought that they were better than me. Not that they're not. They're, I'm sure, great people, but they weren't who I thought they were at all. And I mean, I don't have those friendships anymore. So I kind of was on the opposite side of the spectrum. Instead of like making friends to make me feel better about myself, I picked friends who always made me feel super crappy about myself. And I still gave them my whole heart, attention. And I dropped you guys for a long time for these people.
Now I'm wondering what are some of the qualities that people should look for in friends that will help them grow? Like, how do you know that you found a friend that is going to be helping you grow as an individual in relationships and in life in general.
You go first, Abraham. How do you pick a male friend or a female friend that... What Vicky said. He's like, can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
It doesn't fail every episode. Repeat the question, Vicky.
What are some qualities that you would both consider for the people that are listening to us, some good qualities to look out for when you're choosing the right people to be friends with?
Qualities?
Qualities as a friend, as an individual, or what are your standards and expectations?
Honest people.
I think something that Randy taught me is looking for loyalty. Because you can have friends that are brutally honest, but they're probably being brutally honest to hurt you. Like they want to call you out. Like that's a possibility. So honesty is important, but I think loyalty and just having people that are there for you enough to call you out, but also let's say that you're in a situation where you just cannot, your spirit cannot take being called out because you're already down on the ground. You don't want friends that are going to trample on you. So you need people that are good at reading you. You need people that take their time to get to know you, that they know that if you're not sharing a certain aspect of your life or if you're not being open about something, that they're patient with you and they're loyal to you even if you've like sheltered away for a bit. Because as human beings, we go through things and we close off for some seasons. And if we surround ourselves with friends who are not loyal, and I have a season where I'm going to just take a step back from everyone and then everyone starts calling me fake for not coming around anymore instead of understanding me or trying to and not bantering me or filling me up with questions, a loyal friend will stick it through with you and then be there when you're ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
Loyalty is important. But I never viewed it that way before, Randy. What would you say is a good quality to look for in a friend?
That's a good question.
Right, because you asked it.
Yeah. I always just feel like I can ask and I don't need to respond.
No.
I think one of the things is thinking about how you react to these people, and if they make you feel comfortable. If you feel comfortable and you feel safe, then I think that's a good quality.
Right. You said that.
That someone has. Like if I don't feel comfortable, if I don't feel safe going to you and talking about something about my life, then I know that this is not a friendship where I know I can trust and that will help me grow. Because it's one thing to feel safe and it's one thing to feel comfortable talking about specifics in our lives. But I think for me specifically, and maybe this might help other people too, is if I'm after a conversation about something that I wanted to share, if I leave feeling like I took something away from it that will help me, then great. This is a good friend for me. But if I feel like I got nothing out of that and I just poured out my heart and I don't know what they're going to do with that information, then I feel unsafe and I'm just like, I know this was not a good friend for me.
Yeah, it's something that you've said to us before. Listen to your body. Listen to the way that you feel around someone. Are you uptight? Do you feel afraid to speak? Are you completely yourself? That's one thing that I really treasure in friendship as well is, do I feel completely myself? Do I know that the Julissa that I am in school, that I am at church, that I am at my house, I can be that and all of those together without being judged with these people? Because, I mean, let's be honest, not that as humans humans, we can be fake. But I think that as a mature adult, you don't ever want to be fake, but we have to be honest that we're not the same in our workplace as we are at home, as we are with our extended family, as we are to our best friends. There's different versions of me. And I want my friends to be people that I can be every single version of myself with.
Yeah.
And not be judged because of who I am at church.
Right.
Or who I am at work.
Right.
Because if I have a friend who sees me say something that I would never say at church and they're like, not Christian, then I'm just like, you don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't get it. I'm not going to be out here drinking, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Then what? Are you judging me?
Yeah.
He was like, I can count a couple
I
times.
would be the one who would say that.
Who would say
You
what?
heathen.
Oh, yeah, I know, but you're also. Do you actually think that when you say it?
Brethren of the enemy.
No.
I'm accuser of the brethren.
Did you hear? Brethren of the enemy. She never says it right.
Brethren of the enemy. So you're the Satan's
Oh my
brother.
god. You guys are funny. You're calling me out all the time for things that I say wrong. But anyway, I think this is a good time to actually move forward and start talking about how to cope and manage losing a friend or a friendship, and what comes up for us when that starts happening. I'm wondering if you guys have any specific points that you wanted to share when it comes to navigating the loss of a friend.
Well, I actually want to turn your question into another question and ask, how do you guys know, or how have you in the past determined when it's time for a friendship to end?
Oh,
We want
I can answer this already.
Yeah. What happened? What happened? We want names. We want addresses.
Okay, I don't know about that. I don't feel comfortable saying that in
Just say
camera.
it. We can bleep things out.
No, I'm not bleeping nothing.
I'll bleep
No,
it
I'm not
out.
gonna say it.
Say
Okay. When there's only been a couple.
Say it.
No.
Wait, which one is it? Accuser of the brethren, mother. I didn't say it.
That's so funny.
Oh, you said
You
it.
know if you know what we're talking about that video. If
Wait,
you
what?
know.
What is she talking about?
What video?
Anyway, let's
What video is she talking about?
Bro,
The accuser of the brethren?
What time is it? She's tired. She's delusional.
Okay, look. Getting back to the point. How do I know when a friendship has ended?
No, when it's time for it to come to an end.
Or when it's time to come to an end. Oh, yes, good point. It's different. When it's time to come to an end, everybody changes. Say it with me.
Everybody changes.
Wait, can I do
They
it
can
again?
change every
Yes,
year.
he wants to do it
Let
again.
me do the monster
Okay.
voice.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Everybody changes. Okay?
I don't like that at all.
Why? That's my Bowser voice.
That sounds like Satanas.
How do you know what he sounds like?
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
In my sleep. Continue.
You're funny. Everyone changes if that's every year, if that's every 7 years.
That's true.
Everyone's constantly changing. And in my personal life, I've known when something has to come to an end in our friendship when I'm in a transition of my life of changing and it's not being accepted. And I can say this specifically with my relationship with Mario, at least.
Por dos.
When Mario came around my life, I began to drastically change. A lot of my insecurities were going away. I was learning how to be more confident. Mario helped me learn how to trust again. Mario helped me with a lot of things that I held a lot of toxic traits and patterns and cycles in my life because of experience that I had in the past. And when Mario came in my life, he came into my life as a friend. And I started to change a lot in my life and the way that I viewed life, the way that I approached life, the way that I just carried myself, I would think.
Wow.
And I got a lot of negative feedback from friends.
Including me.
Oh, but yours was like not about these changes in my life. Though.
Oh, right. Mine was just about Mario.
Yeah. That was a whole
That's
different thing.
messed up.
Forgive and forget, Abraham. Forgive and forget.
So I think in this specific, I remember I had to make a decision to end a lot of friendships because the feedback that I was getting was I wouldn't even consider it bullying, but I would consider it like an obstacle for my growth. Like they were getting in the way of me growing.
You were not receptive.
Right. And so when that started getting in the way and I started getting a lot of negative feedback and a lot of pushback from my, pushing back my growth, I knew, I was like, it's not a friendship I want to lose, but it's a friendship that needs to end because it wasn't helping me. It wasn't helping what now my relationship looks like with Mario. And it just wasn't helping anything in my life in that moment. And a lot of the things that I took very personally, like about my faith, about the way I wanted to live my life, there was a lot of resistance and a lot of pushback on that. So I knew I had to make the decision, and it was hard, but it was either my growth or I keep this friend. And and that's how I knew, and that's how I know that what I look out for when that friendship needs to end in my life.
That's so insane the way that you just worded that, because you went through that. And I remember the season in your life when you were going through that. I don't think I viewed it this way at the time. I view it this way now because I went through the exact same thing. And it's so funny. Vicky and I talk about this all the time. Even with this season in my life that I'm in, where I'm getting married, the things that I go through, and I talk to Vicky about, and I talk to Vicky about them too. Dude, I stumble on my words. I know. Same. You know what I'm saying? She then tells me things like what you just said, where you experienced this, and this, and I'm just like, I just hate that I wasn't there with you, listening to you, letting you vent about these things when you were going through them. Because every time I go through something, like, you're always there. It just so happens that you go through it at a time where, like, I could not understand because I'm not at that level yet. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to say that because, damn, ouch, that you had to go through all of that. But I'm not surprised either. And the thing is that when you're in a friendship like that, you know it has to come to an end because it's not allowing you to grow. But you also know it needs to come to an end because they're proving to you that they no longer are accepting the new version of you. And they don't care for you to be better. They'd rather have the toxic Vicky because that's all they know. They want to have the insecure Vicky because it's convenient to them. They want to have the jealous Vicky because it makes them feel better about themselves. But when Vicky meets someone like Mario who stops giving them reasons to be jealous, who stops giving them her reasons to be insecure, those friendships are like, oh no, like, she's becoming who God intended her to be, and she no longer fits in my agenda.
That's so sad when you put it that way.
But people love a lot of people that are gone in our lives loved the broken version of us. And they're gone, B. They're gone. And that's true for everyone. It's true for you, Victoria. It's true for Abraham. I'm sure that there are definitely people in your life, Abraham, that preferred the broken version of you. And they're not there anymore. I mean, maybe it's different for you because you have like 3 friends that you've had your entire life, and you just have us, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I want to know what you guys look out for when you know that a friendship is about to end, or when it needs to end.
You want to know how you ended this friendship, like what steps you took.
I think I was actually, I've thought about this time. Actually, I have thought about this, and I look back to this moment, and I didn't recognize myself when I had to do that because, again, I think I did this really quick change in my life in the way that how I was because of Mario, not for him, but because he taught me how to have a different life and how to be confident and how to stand up for what it is that you believe in. And I remember I did it through text. That I could have done it in person, but I was young at the time. I think I was 18. And I consider that young because
that's so young.
At 18, like we're still going through a lot. I was 18 and I did it through text, but I did let them know that friendship needed to end. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I remember the points of making my point that this friendship needs to end because it's not helping me grow. And that's exactly what I said in that message. It's not helping me grow, and it's not helping what I want to get to. Like, it's not helping me get there. And there was a lot of pushback, and I said that.
And guilt tripping, I'm sure. Did they say things that made you feel like you were making the wrong choice?
I don't remember.
Good. It's all a blur.
I don't remember.
It all becomes a blur.
Yeah, I really don't remember. Maybe if like a faint memory of them asking, like, is this really like what I wanted? And I was just like, yes, this is really what I need, actually. Yeah. But I really don't remember more than just me getting my point across.
Do you think it would have been possible for you to end that friendship that was so toxic for you had Mario not come into your life? Do you think you would have been able to do it on your own? Okay.
No, because thinking back to who I was back then, and you had to end a lot of things for me.
I did.
Because I was so insecure and so I don't know how to describe who I was. I did not have any belief in myself.
Like you weren't sure of yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't sure of myself that I needed someone like Julissa in a lot of different moments in my life where she had to step in and be the strong one.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't, because I just was literally like a weak duckling. Like I just didn't believe that I could ever do anything.
And to clarify, when Mario came into Victoria's life and she made these changes, and when I ask this question, do you think you would have been able to do it without Mario? To clarify, it's not that Mario told her, cut this person off, cut this person off. No. It wasn't that. When we have people in our lives that help us let go of certain things, it's not because they're sitting there telling us who to cut off. The way that I did sometimes with you.
Well, that was different though, because
it's different.
I think in a lot of ways we're very compatible.
Yeah.
There's just things that I don't have that you have and that I need. And so you're the person that you're like, you got to do this for me, girl, because I can't.
I'm just mind blown right now because I was, whatever, we'll talk about this later. Let me finish my statement about you. Mario wasn't there telling you who to cut off.
Right.
I don't think Mario would have understood.
No.
Anyway, but just what he was bringing into your life was inspiring enough for you to know what your next move was. And that is the sign of someone positive entering your life. When someone positive enters your life, it should bring clarity, not confusion.
Right.
So if your friend is confusing you, if it's making you doubt what you're gonna, in this case, Mario ended up marrying her, but it can be a friend, it could be someone who you're gonna marry. But if the new friendship is bringing confusion, if it's making you doubt your career, if it's making you, and I mean doubt, I'm not saying change your mind. It's okay to change your mind, but if you're in doubt and the next possible step is blurry, then it's probably not somebody good for you. But I actually
that's really good.
Want Abraham to speak a little bit, and I want to ask you, Abraham, what experience have you had where you've broken up with a friend or have been broken up with by a friend? Not him
That's
saying.
actually a really good question. Like, have you ever been broken up by someone?
Yeah.
Like, as in a friend. I'm going to think about that.
Yeah, I'm going to think about it too.
What do you mean?
Have you ever gotten broken up with by a friend?
I don't know.
Oh, that must be nice.
I can only think of like 2 situations where I had to cut someone off.
Oh, yeah? Tell us. Tell us names,
Number
addresses. What?
I would say number 1. I'm not going to say names, but you guys know who it is.
No, I don't know who.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm like,
you can say it's a friendship.
I'm like looking deep into your eyes to see if I can figure it out.
They're too
I'll
Bowsery
say it
right now.
Where's the beep?
Make sure you know what the beep is first.
Yeah.
Right here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was hoping.
You're going to have to bleep that out more
No.
because you can still hear it.
She won't listen.
You don't know.
You should.
Anyway,
know. You should still do
I
it.
think that's the only one that comes to mind. And obviously we know why that friendship had to end.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that I almost ended for you too?
What do you mean?
Because do you remember that I told you that
That's so funny.
if you didn't...
And that she would end it for you?
I don't remember that.
Yes.
Not in those words.
Not in those words, but there was a scenario with this person where you needed to be honest with someone about this person. And I told you to go and tell them the truth. Otherwise, I would do it for you.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
So that you did it, not me.
No, I didn't.
I know, but you
Because
told
you-
me to.
Yes, I did tell you to, and I was patient
But I
with
think,
you. And
I think you made me realize.
I made bi-weekly
didn't
checks.
see.
No, I'm not
Really?
kidding. Yes, I would like. I remember you did something that I didn't think was right. But I was patient with you, Abraham. Okay, you did something that I didn't think was right, and
Well,
I
just
told
say
you.
it. What did I do?
You went out with this person, and you didn't tell your girlfriend, and I didn't think that was right. So I told you, and I was like, "You need to tell your girlfriend, or I will." And you're like, okay, I'll tell her. A week passed. Have you told her yet?
Oh.
No, I haven't. You need to tell her or I will. And I mean, I was patient with you until you chose to do it and I didn't do it for you. But yeah. And
That's
then,
loyalty.
no,
That's loyal friendships.
but it was just because, I mean, it was somebody that needed to leave your life and my life. Like this was a friend that we had in common.
Yeah.
And she needed to leave your life too, bro.
I was never
think-
close to this person like you guys were.
You
I
were
think
close to her sister.
after we cut her off, I think that's the end. Right? Like I haven't heard from her since.
We did for a while because we went to school with her.
Oh,
And then things just got worse. Things got worse, right, Vicky?
for y'all.
For me, specifically. But it's okay
Yeah.
because it's
This is
a friendship.
crazy.
It's a friendship that we all cut.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how one person was toxic to all of us.
Dude, I never thought about it that way.
She was toxic in different ways.
Yes.
That's the crazy part.
Still, oh, right.
Yeah, in different ways, but very toxic. That's crazy, dude.
It is crazy. And that's one of those friendships that took me way too long to cut. I was very well, yes, you and I both. We were very forgiving and it's kind of like a curse. We've talked about this. It was like
It is
a weird draw that she had for us to keep going back and back.
Well, no, I think this is something I wanted to, on the next point, like something that I wanted to talk about, but I'll just bring it up slightly. We form attachments to people.
Yep.
And both of you formed an attachment to this person because it was formed at a very young age. This person was not someone that just popped up when you were 15.
That's true.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
so-
true for me.
It's true. You were 15?
I'm not 15, but yeah, I might have
don't-
been 15.
I don't think so. I think you
Yeah?
were younger.
You were younger.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. No, he wasn't.
Really?
Yes. No, he wasn't.
You guys met her before, but
I met her when I was like 5.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's
Not
what I'm
me.
saying. Like, you form attachments because that's what we do. Humans form attachments. And so to separate yourself from a formed attachment, it's very difficult. It's not something you just do from a day to a night. Like,
You're telling me.
it takes long. You mourn the loss. And this is the next point. Like, you mourn the loss of that attachment.
That's true. I mean, it's the same thing when you're in a relationship and you break
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all
It's
mourning.
literally the same thing.
Dang.
Sometimes it's harder.
I agree. To lose a friend than to lose
It is.
like a significant other.
Yeah, because you can forget about them. But a friend, it's like, dang, you have all those memories as a friend.
Honestly, I can't sit here and say that I mourned the loss of that friend, though. Even though,
Either.
right? Like it should have
Almost,
been
almost felt like,
free.
yeah, you were freed
Yeah.
from something.
There you go. You listened to your body and you were like, that was not okay.
You and me both, Abraham.
Yeah.
You and me both.
No, but I think it was worse for me.
Oh, I know.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I know.
We've had some deliverance in this room.
Literally. Literally. That's exactly what it is.
Crazy. Wait,
But-
but you didn't answer your, like, what it is that how you know when you need to let go of a friendship.
Bro, I don't.
What?
I am
I
so.
still don't know.
I still don't know. I'm so bad. I am so bad at cutting people off. Like, by the time that I cut you out of my life, I've already dwelled on it for like 2 years.
Bro,
I'm
Well, that's a long time.
that's a long time.
I'm not exaggerating.
You can change in those 2 years.
Yes, and it just gives me more reasons to leave.
What if they
makes
change in
sense.
those 2 years?
Then I forgive. It's true. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that I'm not gonna say
Even though, like, all the things they did to you, you still forgive them? If they change?
I do. I really do.
Hey,
That's not me. That's Vicky.
Toria del
That
Rio.
wasn't even
That,
me.
that was you. That was you.
Mine's not even on the table, bruh.
It wasn't
Look
me.
out for Hacienda Los Rodriguez in 2023.
That's so
You gonna
random.
have horses?
Hopefully, maybe next year.
You gonna have cows? You gotta
I
have a
want
cow for
chickens
Lala.
and goats.
You have to
You
have a
gotta
cow.
have a cow for Lala.
Okay, I will have a cow for Lala.
Okay, you guys, I'm serious. I'm not gonna sit here and say I am such a forgiving person. That's my problem. I'm just dumb.
No.
It's not even.
Did you hear him?
Oh, I heard
I
it.
don't know what that.
I heard him as clear as the.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Boom.
funny.
Oh, how about this one?
Emotional damage.
I don't like these sound effects.
Emotional damage.
No, I think that. I don't know if you guys suffer from this, but I have like memory loss sometimes. It's
Sometimes.
when it comes to certain situations, kind of how you were speaking right now, Vicky, and you were saying that a certain part of your life was a blur.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about a lot of things. So
Where's your brain just blacking?
my brain, traumatic
Yeah,
events.
basically.
My brain forgets the pain that people put me through. I just be forgetting. And they'll do something and it'll be extremely painful. But then if I have one good moment with them,
Yeah.
it makes up for all the bad stuff. I know it's horrible, but it's just, it's true with my family. It's true with my past relationships. And it's not that I'm like the most forgiving person ever and I'm gifted. No, it's just one good thing outweighs all the bad. And it's something that I've struggled with a lot. I mean, that's one of the reasons why that my relationship with that girl lasted for such a long friendship with the girl. Don't you guys out here thinking weird things. But with the same girl that you're talking about, it lasted for so long because she did a lot of messed up things, but we'd have one good conversation and it'd be like, oh wait, I like
you're
you.
kinda cool.
Yeah, you're kind of cool.
Yeah, all right.
So
It's crazy.
So no,
That
you
makes
guys,
sense though.
I'm
Especially if like you're really close to that person. It's like you guys said before, like you want to see the good in them.
yes.
So like that one good like moment like washes away the multitudes of sin.
No, it does. And the thing is that, but because of that, I don't pay attention to how my body feels around them because I convinced myself that
Yeah.
I was just not doing enough to make the situation comfortable. Goes back to who we are in our social, as social beings. I am a
Yeah.
very talkative, extroverted person that whenever some situation is awkward with me and someone else, a conversation, I always blame it on myself. And I'm like, I didn't try hard enough to make things flow well. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't, set the tone for something to just run smoothly. So that's true in every aspect of my life. So when it comes to needing to end a friendship or something like that, I never know when it's time until I get cut off by the other person. I've gotten cut off by a lot of people when I should have cut them off first. So we'll just leave it at that. It's the truth, though.
You could write a book about your story. A book of your story in life.
I won't. That
You
sounds.
should a memoir.
No, doesn't that mean that I'm dead? He said I should write a memoir. I'll be dead.
What is it called?
No.
An autobiography.
An autobiography.
That's for people that are famous.
What is like a tell-all?
You
Yeah, that's
gotta
what
you
need to
gotta
do.
live.
A tell-all book. Just expose everyone
So,
from the top to the bottom.
know.
I'll expose it. That's what this podcast is for.
You're not saying no names.
That's not nice.
On that note, should we even do the question of the day or should we just
Yeah.
end it there? We should?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Make it fun though. Not
I forgot
we
what the
talk too
question was.
deeply.
all right.
I'm thirsty.
I might have a good a fun question.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, easy.
Okay. Perfect.
Most embarrassing moment.
My most embarrassing moment?
Yeah, I got a good one.
Oh my gosh, go.
Okay, let me set the scene. 2017. No, I'm just kidding. This was when we worked at your tia Betty's office.
Okay.
It was like late at night, so like everyone was gone except for I was waiting for Vicky because she used to give me rides.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
know.
so it was me, Vicky, and then Veronica Umbriz was there. So I don't know what they're doing, but Veronica Umbriz puts me in that last office.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I was putting like letters into envelopes.
Okay.
And like I really needed to go to the bathroom, but someone was in there, probably Tony. So like Yeah, I was like, screw it. And then like I let a fart rip. And there was like a silent but deadly one. So like as soon as I like fart, like it starts smelling so bad. So I grab a binder and like I start like blowing the air. And at that moment, Veronica Breeze comes back in, bro. And she says, "Que había mosca?"
She said what? Que había moscas?
Yeah, it's like she thought I was like doing. So like I know she smells it, cause like 5 seconds later she's like, "I'll be right back," and I was so embarrassed, bro.
She left and she was like, it stinks.
Yeah. That's
so embarrassing.
It is.
What the heck?
Oh my gosh, I can't think of something that's honestly.
OMG.
I don't get embarrassed easily.
OMG.
Okay,
I'm trying to think.
do you have something? That's so horrible, Abraham.
That is.
That's so funny. I'm trying to think. Maybe you guys have my most embarrassing moment.
Dude, I think I know an
I
embarrassing
think you guys are
moment.
shameless.
I'm pretty
Shameless.
I'm pretty shameless. Or not that it's like
That's
not,
so funny.
not that I'm shameless, it's just that it's hard for me to like dwell on something being embarrassing. Whoa,
I guess this is embarrassing. It might not be as funny for you guys, but it was embarrassing for me. So Mario's dad, as you guys know, currently lives with us. And I realized that moving in with Mario, I realized a lot of unhealthy diet kind of habits that I had, which I never really paid attention to until I moved in with Mario when like we got married. And so this is not so bad, but at the beginning, like, sí, me ponía a pensar, like, yo me ponía a pensar, I'm like, dang, we only have one bathroom. And I'm constantly like se me suelta el estómago, and my stomach was like pretty bad. And so I learned that I had to change like a lot of habits that I had because it was unhealthy for me, for my stomach to constantly be in that situation. Well, that's context, okay? There was a moment one time where like I woke up mal del estómago like super early in the morning, and Mario's dad has the habit of waking up like 2 hours before he has to go to work, but those 2 hours is like 5, maybe 4, up to 4 in the morning when he doesn't have to leave the house till like 7:30. And when he goes into the bathroom, there's no way you're gonna get that bathroom because he's in there for the next 3-4 hours. So one time, like me desperté and I like my stomach was hurting so bad, and I knew like he wasn't up yet. So I rushed to the bathroom thinking, oh, I'll get ahead. Like he won't have to, like he's not up yet, so I can make it. I went to the bathroom and I was taking a little long because my stomach was like not okay. And Mario has this bad habit of when his dad's in the bathroom, like they have no patience for each other. But when Mario like knocks super loud at the bathroom door to bother his dad. And so his dad woke up, right, that morning. I'm in the bathroom, like doing my thing. And then it was the first time, like, nobody interrupts anybody when they're in the bathroom. Like, if you know the bathroom door is closed, like, you just know someone's in there. Well, his dad thinks that Mario's the one that's in the bathroom. So to get back at him, he starts knocking at the door super loud and hitting it. He said something. And I was, like, so embarrassed.
Probably like, huele a caca.
No.
What's going in there?
It was just bad, dude, because he knocks really hard. And I'm like, I see. Like, I didn't know what to say. He's like, ay, perdóname, mija, no sabía que eras tú. Y ahí se quedó. At that point, I was like, no, I need to. So I'm like, flushing the toilet. When the toilet flushes, like, I grab the air for breeze, and I'm like, so he doesn't hear it.
But she was probably
And
like,
I walk out.
I need to get my gut healthy.
Dude, yeah, that's when I realized I was like, this isn't right. And I walked out, and he was like in the kitchen, and I was just like so red because I was embarrassed that happened to me, that he knocked on the door on me.
Not
You were
even
red
that
because
deep.
you were pushing.
And so he was like, I'm so sorry, pensé que era Mario. And I'm like, no se preocupe. But I was embarrassed because I knew he was about to walk into that bathroom.
And it stunk.
That's most embarrassing for me.
I remember my most embarrassing recently.
Boring.
Oh my God.
Let it rip.
It's not embarrassing
Wait, no, let it
anymore.
rip.
It's not embarrassing anymore, but it was at the time. So this was when Randy and I were friends. Okay. He was here he had moved to Houston
Yeah.
So Randy moved to Houston, and he kept his job that he had here. He kept it remotely. So he came to visit because there was some training that was going on. And so he came for like a week, and he invited my friend Veronica and I to the hotel to have pizza and watch a movie. So we went over to have pizza and watch a movie, but I was on my period, and I clearly am not an adult and I don't know how to take care of my period. So I perioded all over his hotel bed. Yes, dude, it was so embarrassing. I felt it.
Oh my gosh, no.
And I was like, bro, I am 23 years old. Still not knowing how to take care of my period issues. And I leaked, and you guys know hotel beds are white, bro.
Yeah.
So I got up and I went to the bathroom because I knew I felt it, and I was leaked on my pants, and I was like, it's going to be on the bed. And I like went out there to see it was perioded on the bed, and I went into the bathroom and I died. And I told Veronica, come here. She's like, what? I was like, come here. And I told her what happened, and I was like borderline crying because I was like, I just perioded on Randy's bed. And I was so freaking embarrassed. And I was like, go to the car and get me clothes, and don't tell anything to Randy. Don't say anything. Don't draw attention to it. Cover it. And so she went to the car, she gets out of the hotel room. I'm locked in the bathroom. She just walks out without any context. Randy's like, what's going on? And no one's saying anything. I locked the door to the bathroom. He's like, what's happening? And I was like, nothing. Veronica walks out, comes in with new pants. And he's like, what's going on? And then I was just like, he just kept insisting. And I was like, I had an accident on your bed. I had my period. And he's like, okay. Like, and because he has sister, like a sister. And so to him, it was nothing, but dude, I wanted to freaking die.
That's so embarrassing.
It was so embarrassing, bro. We were just friends. And like looking back at it, I'm just like, But no, bro, that was so embarrassing.
That's such a vulnerable piece of you.
That's the bed he was gonna sleep on. And and then what is he gonna tell the hotel room? Like someone had a period on my bed. Can you come?
I had a nosebleed.
Like the hotel people. Well, yeah, those are our most embarrassing moments. But
That's so funny.
this was a long-winded podcast.
It was.
But if you are listening,
2 hours later,
and if you're listening to this, I've probably already edited the part 1 and part 2. This part 2 is going to be a bonus.
Yes.
And part 1 is going to be the toxicity of friendships and how to deal with that. So thank you guys so much for watching. And if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do at Usually Best of Friends. Or you can follow us on all social media platforms at Usually Best of Friends. Email us, DM us, and tell us what you want to hear us talk about. But yeah, watch part 1, watch part 2. We love you.
See you.
Hey.